Hi, welcome to the day 12 of 10-minute wrap-up series. In this video, we will learn about the e-governance, which is the most important and the most repeated theme of GS2 syllabus, particularly of governance section. Except 2022, UPSC asked the question on e-governance almost every year. That means in past 8 years, this question is asked 7 times. For the important topics like this, there is a need for two-pager notes in order to revise quickly before the mains examination. So in this video, I will help you to make that two-pager notes. Before starting, let us go through previous year questions. E-governance is not only the utilization of the new technology but also much more about the use value of information. They introduced the topic of e-governance by asking what is e-governance? Implementation of information and communication technology based programs, their challenges and the suggest some measures asked in 2019. Emergence of Industrial Revolution 4.0 makes the e-governance an integral part of government, which was asked in 2020. Digital illiteracy and ICT accessibility are challenges to socioeconomic development. This was asked in 2021. E-governance ensures effectiveness, transparency, and accountability. What are its challenges? This was asked in 2023. This question was exactly repeated in 2024. That is next year. E-governance ensures transparency and accountability. And what is the role of interactive service model in the e-governance? And explain its challenges. There was also a question on e-governance in 2025 mains paper also. E-governance projects have built-in bias towards technology and back-end integration rather than user-centric design. This question is about the technical aspects of e-governance. E-governance projects, rather than being the center design, it is based on technology and back-end integration. Now I hope you understood what type of questions are asked on e-governance. What is e-governance as a concept? What are its challenges and suggest some reforms? And in 2025, they asked about technical aspect of e-governance. That is, they are not based on user-centric design rather than being biased towards technology and back-end integration. Now let us see what all we need to remember to write an answer on the e-governance. This is a ready-made fodder content you can use to every answer on the e-governance. In the introduction, you can start with e-governance refers to the use of information and communication technology to deliver government services, information, transactions to citizens, businesses, and other forms of government. I repeat, e-governance refers to use of information and communication technology to deliver services of government, information, transaction to whom? To citizens, businesses, and other arms of government. E-governance involves digital platforms which increases the efficiency, transparency, accountability, and overall citizens' participation in the governance. Now let us see what are the pillars of e-governance. There are four pillars: connectivity, knowledge, that is digital literacy, data or content, and a capital. The first pillar, that is connectivity, includes reliable internet, mobile network, infrastructure like common service centers. For example, BharatNet project of India aims to connect 2.5 lakhs gram panchayats through broadband services. The second pillar is knowledge, that is digital literacy for the citizens as well as officials of public office. This digital literacy can be increased through the programs like Pradhan Mantri Grameen Digital Saksharata Abhiyan, which trains the rural households in digital skills. The third pillar is data or content, where data needs to be timely, accurate, and relevant. For example, Indian portal, that is india.gov.in, is a single window for government information which is timely, accurate, and relevant. The fourth pillar is the capital, which involves IT infrastructure and investment. Investment in hardware, software, cybersecurity, and data center are critical to ensure the e-governance. For example, the national cloud, that is called as Meghraj, provides the cost-effective hosting for e-governance applications of the government. Let us summarize. The four pillars of e-governance are the connectivity, which is involved internet, mobile network, and infrastructure like common service centers. The knowledge, that is digital literacy, which can be increased by the programs like Pradhan Mantri Grameen Digital Saksharata Abhiyan. Data or content, which needs to be timely, accurate, and relevant. The Indian portal, you can mention the example of india.gov.in in the capital. IT infrastructure and investment in hardware, software, cybersecurity, and data centers. For example, you can mention about national cloud, that is Megraj, which is which provides the cost-effective hosting for e-governance applications for the government. Now let us see what is the need for e-governance in India, which means why India needs e-governance. The first point is large population and administrative complexities. The vast population and diverse geography of India demand the scalable and efficient government tools. For example, during COVID, the CoWIN platform managed over 2 billion vaccine doses. The next point is reducing the corruption and discretion. It curbs the middlemen and mutual interface in the service delivery. The mutual interface and the middleman increases the corruption. For example, Aadhaar based direct benefit transfer eliminated 4.4 crore fake beneficiaries. Third point, that is faster and transparent service delivery. Minimizes the red tapeism, which is the main issue of bureaucratic structure of India, and e-governance provides 24 into access to the services. For example, Passport Seva Kendra enables the online application, tracking, faster passport issuance. The fourth point in the why there is a need for e-governance in India is inclusive and participatory governance. Empowers the citizens to provide feedback and engages the citizens in the policy making. For example, the My Government platform allows the people to suggest and vote on government initiatives. The last point is why there is a need. The e-governance improves the policy monitoring and targeting through real-time dashboards. The monitoring of the policies are done through real-time dashboards, which tracks the outcomes and adjusts the strategies, which means targeted service delivery. For example, the Poshan tracker tracks the nutrition services for the children and pregnant women. Let us summarize these points. Why there is a need for e-governance in India. The large population of India and administrative complexities demand the governance tools like this. For example, you can mention CoWIN, reducing the corruption and discretion. The middleman and mutual interface increases the corruption. So these e-governance are necessary. For example, Aadhaar-based DBT eliminated 4.4 crore fake beneficiaries. The third point is faster and transparent service delivery. It minimizes the red tapeism and 24 into access to the services. You can provide the example of Passport Seva Kendra. Inclusive and participatory democracy empower citizens to provide the feedback and engage in the policy making. You can mention about the example of My Government platform, which provides the people opportunity to suggest and vote to the government initiatives. Fifth point is improved the policy monitoring and targeting through real-time dashboards. You can mention the example of the tracker of Poshan. Now we'll see what are the challenges of e-governance. The first challenge is digital divide, which means the unequal access of internet and technology. There is a urban-rural divide and as well as the gender divide between the men and the women. For example, only 52% of the rural women have mobile phones. To the contrary, 82% of the rural men have mobile phones, which shows the digital divide between the genders. For example, as per the TRIA, that is Telecom Regulatory Authority of India 2023 report, rural internet penetration in rural areas are under 40%, whereas in urban area, the internet penetration is 70%. The next important challenge is low digital literacy. Citizens lack skills to use the digital platforms. For example, rural workers rely on middlemen for the Manrega job cards. The third point is infrastructure deficiency. There is an inadequate infrastructure of electricity, internet, IT infrastructure, especially in the remote areas and the rural areas. The cyber security and data privacy concerns, which increases the vulnerability of hacking, data leaks, misuse of personal information. For example, reports of Aadhaar data breaches identify the Tribune sting operation in 2018. The fifth challenge of e-governance is resistance to the change, which is the most important challenge. That is administrative inertia. Bureaucrats' reluctance to adopt the technology. The old generation bureaucrats are reluctant to adopt the new technologies. The next challenge is lack of capacity building, insufficient training for government staff. Many common service center operators lack the updated knowledge about the schemes, where these common service center operators need to provide the information of to the poor people. They themselves lack the updated knowledge about the schemes. The next point is monitoring and accountability barriers. Lack of robust system to measure the service quality and citizen satisfaction. There is no robust system to measure the service quality and citizen satisfaction. For example, CP grams, that is centralized public grievances and monitoring system. This grievance portal receives the lack of complaints, but redressal is delayed or only superficial. That redressal is delayed or superficial. Now let us see what are the reforms needed to improve the efficiency of the e-governance. The first reform which is suggested is bridging the digital divide. Expand the internet access to the rural areas as well as remote areas. Digital literacy by the programs like Pradhan Mantri Grameen Digital Saksharata Abhiyan, which increase the digital literacy among the rural people. Strengthening the cybersecurity framework through enforcing the data localization, user privacy protection. This is done by recent DPDP Act, which is Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. The next reforms is legislative and policy reforms. The legislative reforms include strengthening the RTI, that is right to information through digital proactive disclosure. There is a need for proactive disclosure rather than passive disclosure. That is means the information is disclosed only when the citizens apply for that information, rather than there is a need for proactive disclosure of the public offices. Update the IT Act 2000, reflecting the emerging technologies like AI, that is artificial intelligence, and blockchain technology. Improving the user experience and accessibility, multilingual interfaces through multilingual interfaces, especially in regional languages. This was a question asked in 2025. There is e-governance rather being a user centric, which means user experience and accessibility should be the main concern of the e-governance. Public grievance redressal mechanism and feedback loops, improving platforms like CPgrams, that is centralized public grievance redressal and monitoring system for faster resolution and accountability. Let us summarize these points. Bridging the digital divide, strengthening cybersecurity, legislative and policy reforms, improving the user experience and accessibility, public grievance redressal, and feedback loops. I have missed the summarizing of the challenges. Let us summarize now. The first challenge is digital divide, low digital literacy, infrastructure deficiency, cybersecurity and data privacy concerns, resistance to the change, that is administrative inertia, lack of capacity building, monitoring, and accountability barriers. You identify a challenge, you mention a reform for that. For example, here you return the point of digital divide. In the reforms, you can mention bridging the digital divide. Low digital literacy, you can mention here increasing the digital literacy through PM Disha. Like this, you can remember the points by segregating them as challenges and reforms needed. Now, let us see what you can write in the conclusion. In the conclusion, you can end with a quote given by Honorable Prime Minister. That is, e-governance is easy governance, effective governance, and economic governance, which paves the way for good governance. You can remember it as three E's. That is, easy governance, effective governance, and economic governance. It paves the way for good governance. Now, let us see what all we have seen in this video. I give you the ready-made introduction, the pillars of the e-governance, the challenges, the reforms needed, and why we need e-governance, and the conclusion. I will come up with the next important theme. Until then, I hereby signing off, one of the undeserved mind of UPSC community. Thank you.